Alright, Ashley, this is breaststroke. The film didn't really start at the same time, so this is the first place I could really get things synced up. Going forward, pretty similar, everything that I'm looking at. Nice line. This recovery can get a little tighter. I mean, you can get a little tighter and kind of bring it up. I could show you something tomorrow at the pool, but everything pretty good. Like the way you're exiting into your stroke. So all of that fairly similar. Just looking at the first line. Actually, I'm going to just go regular speed. Actually like it. The breaststroke is, you got a little less drag. I think I'll just slow it down a little here. So you're doing a better job of minimizing your drag up front, so the head's a little more in line. There's not nearly as much of your head exposed. I don't know if you noticed that, but there's a lot more of your head exposed in a year ago to where you are now, so you reduce the drag. You're still kind of dealing with the issue where you really need to get that really good toe point at the end. That's still an area that can improve a ton. And the tightness of that line, that really has to get better. So main thing that I see improved is just this line. This is the main part of it. So you can see there's a lot more of that cap. So there's a lot more of this cap sticking out here. You're a little deeper with your hands before. You've shallowed them up a little. I still really don't like this pair of boots on. That's something that you're going to tighten up, and that's work. It takes work to do that. So I'm going to go out to the individual here and again just look at some of the basics here. So still getting a little too deep with those hands, and I think this can improve. You cut out this palm, get that down. This is taking you down to 6 to 8 inches. It can't get in that deep. It's got to come in shallower and spoon back to the surface, which I know you're doing, but you're doing it from a much deeper position, which means you never really get to the level that you need to get. So when you set this, when you outsweep and you turn the corner on your hands, you're too deep below the surface, and that's what's working against you. So again, just like everything else, when we go to I'm not even going to go to the rhythm skull. You know what it looks like. It's redundant to put it up here, but I'm going to put this back up here because I think this is something, and this is something I've shown you before. You have on your film from a year ago, but it's worth again having it here, because when this athlete extends his forwards, outwards, and upwards, when she sets that anchor position, again, you see the whirls. You see where the anchor position is set. This is where it has to happen, Ashley. This is where that anchor position has to be set, and until you do that, you're going to be losing a little in terms of drag with your body. You're going to be going a little too up and down in what you're doing. So then everything else you do is correct. It's just too deep below the surface of the water. Shoot the hands forward. So coming back, again, that out sweep, what you're doing with your wings in the out sweep, it's all good. This, you could actually go a little wide, especially as you get stronger. You could go a little wider. And to be honest, there's one thing, and I'll remember to tell you about this in the morning, but when you do the out sweep, and let's say you're swimming this way down the pool, right, and I'm looking at you from above, when you initiate that out sweep with your hands, you really want to be reaching forwards, outwards, and forwards. So the hands are actually traveling forward during the out sweep. You set that anchor position, and then they travel inwards, back, and then you're basically vaulting your body forward over that piece of water. What you tend to be doing is they tend to be drifting backwards this way, and they're drifting backwards even more. So you're really losing some vaulting position because you're not reaching forwards, outwards, and upwards with regard to setting that position. So like I said, I will take this up with you in the morning at some point somewhere and get that sorted out. But the main thing is this depth. You're right to where you want to be, but that anchor is coming too backwards. This really should be going out to the side. That in sweep is fairly good in terms of the pitch of your hands. All of that is good. So the main things: clean up that line, clean up those feet, get everything a little shallower because of where you set your anchor position, and it's where you need to go. You're here looking for ways to improve what you're doing, and this is basically one of those ways to improve what you're doing. So I'll give it one more pass at a moderate speed, so we'll slow it down so you can see the basic differences again. And I think that there's some improvements, but there's some, the worst thing that can happen is I do a tape for you and I can't find anything you can improve. Horrors.